I have 3 children. I have 13, 12, and 7. We talk about food. We talk about health. It's so difficult because they see in their friends and their classmates, they eat, I'm just going to call it garbage, right? They eat garbage and they eat garbage all day long. And it drives me nuts that we consider school lunch, especially at public school, we consider school lunch actual food. But to have this conversation with my own kids around what I think is a wholesome diet, and then they turn around and see such discrepancy in the world around them, it's really difficult. I think they feel like I'm pushing it too far. But what I'm saying, I think, is actually really similar to what you're saying. And I love that it's coming from a peer, right? Somebody who's the same age. And so I love the fact that you guys are putting this out there. So then let's talk about the book.
Hello, Holistic Kids. This is Health 3.0.
Welcome back to the Health 3.0 podcast, brought to you by LifeMD. I'm your host, Dr. Doug Lucas, orthopedic surgeon, head of longevity medicine at LifeMD. Each episode, I sit down with the innovators, disruptors, and clinicians redefining what's possible in modern medicine and what that means for your health. Let's get started. All right. Well, the Holistic Kids, welcome to Health 3.0. Super glad that you're here. I've got a list here, guys, of achievements. I want to run down them and tell me if I miss anything. But I've got this list of achievements for you that is just mind-blowing. So you, as the Holistic Kids, of course, you have your own show, right? The Holistic Kids Show, which is a top 2% podcast. It's amazing. You've had over, did you say 250 episodes so far? Is that right? Awesome. 250 episodes. You guys recently launched a book. We're going to talk about that, the Teen Health Revolution. You've been keynote speakers at A4M, at IFM. You've won some awards. I mean, you're just doing so many things in the health space. I'm super excited to have you on the Health 3.0 podcast. Welcome.
Well, it's really our pleasure. So we can't thank you enough for having us on. It's amazing to be here today.
Yeah, thank you.
I know people are probably wondering this because especially if they are hearing this and they're not seeing you, just introduce yourself, say your name and how old you are so that we can get that out of the way. Because right now everybody's thinking, how old are these kids?
So I'm 18. I'm Dula.
I'm Imad and I'm 13.
My name is Zain and I am 15.
And my name is Kasif and I am 10.
So tell me just a little bit of background, how you got into this, because it is so unusual. First of all, to have 4 brothers sitting this close together and not killing each other. So that's one, kudos to you, Mom, who's in the background there. But 2, how did you get here? How did you start this podcast? Like what motivated you to do all the work? Because it takes a lot of work. So what got you here?
So I think it definitely started at the beginning because we were surrounded by the medical field when it comes to our parents were doctors, our aunts and uncles were doctors, our grandparents were doctors, and so on. So everyone was doctors, and we knew that doctors were there to help us, especially at a young age. But when we realized that when we were sick, that all these doctors couldn't really help us. So we started learning about other ways besides from the conventional system, specifically with our mom, who, because we were so young, like I think I was like 5 when we started learning about this. She really started helping us. We took things very step by step. And during the pandemic, when everyone was going kind of crazy about health, no one really understood their health, we decided that, you know what, we're going to create a podcast. We're going to talk to experts. Like every single episode, there was a new expert who would come in and he or she would talk to us about a specific health topic that lots of kids could take in and understand, especially because kids were very neglected. Like we were a neglected space in health. No one really cared to talk to us about it. So that's why we decided to take charge and to talk to adults and to learn while other kids and teens were learning.
It is interesting if you look at the pediatric space, pediatricians they're too busy trying to make sure that you're growing right and make sure you don't have one disease or another, making sure all the things are up to date. They're not really in the same space that we are in the adult world of looking at functional medicine, integrative medicine, all the alternatives. I don't know any integrative, really functional pediatric doctors. I'm sure they exist. I just haven't met any.
Yeah. But then after all those podcasts, we started putting all that information into our book, the teen health revolution to make it easier for teens to just maybe, oh yeah, I need to help my gut. Somebody was revolutionize the gut.
Well, and so let's do this. I would love to, kind of walk through the revolution framework in the book, because this is a summary essentially of all the things that you've learned, right, over the last 250 episodes.
Yeah.
That's perfect. All right. So revolution, you call it the Teen Health Revolution, but revolution is actually an acronym, right?
Yes,
Yes.
it is.
The acronym stands for so we have R, which revolutionize the gut.
E is eat real food.
V, vanquish toxins. O, optimize stress management. L, love nature.
U, unite with others.
T, tech limits. I, invest in sleep.
O is open to gratitude and purpose.
And N, navigate your decisions with mindfulness.
Yeah, and so we wanted to use, simple expert-backed lifestyle tips that any teen can use to improve their mind, body, and soul. And there's so much information all over the internet, and we were like, why don't we just put it in a simple book that any teen can just open up and use it to improve their life? So that was really the mission, and that's why we decided to use acronym. So like Imad said, if you want to learn about your gut, perfect, revolutionize the gut. If you want to learn about tech limits, T, tech limits. So that's why it was really simple and easy, and even we want to read this book.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, then let's run down just like high level, because I want people to read the book too, but high level, let's talk about the gut. What does revolutionize your gut even mean?
So when we talk about revolutionize the gut, we're really just starting in the gut, because the gut holds, let's say, 70% of the immune system. And that means that the gut is what is going to be fighting all of the chronic diseases that we are going to face. And I think it's very important to start with the gut, because this is what's going to help us, first of all, understand our body. So later on, we can use it to really help learn how we can help our gut, because our gut is what's going to keep us much healthier.
Yeah, we also talk about how our gut is our second brain, because every signal every neurotransmitter that the brain gives to the gut, 9 comes back to the brain. So we just talk about how they're both important.
And that's why most teenagers don't know that the gut helps make neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, and melatonin. Digestion and immunity all starts the gut. So teens don't know this. And we're like, this is pretty important information. And if teens could actually use this information to help their own gut, we wouldn't have this chronic disease epidemic that we have now. And so, getting rid of ultra processed fake foods, right? Just getting, limiting sugar, because as teens, I think it's pretty obvious we love sugar, right? And so then also, limiting GMOs. So basically just getting teens to start taking care of their gut again. Because imagine a world where us teens, our bodies actually function properly. So that was, something amazing that when we learned, we were like, we need to teach our classmates, our peers, and the people around us.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, it feeds right into the next one, right? You mentioned ultra processed foods. The E is eat real food, right?
Yeah.
So what does that mean? I mean, I have kids. I have a 13-year-old and 12-year-old and 7-year-old. And I say the same thing, like eat real food, eat whole foods. So what does that mean to you?
Food is power. Food is information. Food makes up every single cell of our body. We are entirely made up of food. So food can either hurt us or it can help us. So if we choose foods that are going to help us, our body is going to really change compared to if we choose food that is going to hurt us. So that's why we talk a lot about how teens really need to choose wisely about what they're putting inside their body, because food is what's going to really change them.
We also talk about how eating diverse palettes, like different colors of food, also helps in different ways. Like eating different colors, like eating red foods, like lower inflammation, orange, help with reproductive and eye health. And then yellow helps with digestive health, green with detoxification, and blue and purple helps with brain, which all helps with sulforaphane, glucoraphanin, glutathione, and detoxification. And real food does not mean not fun. We make real food fun food. So people say that it is not fun, but we can make it fun. And
Yeah. Is that because you guys are learning how to cook? Is that right?
Yes, you also learn how to cook. Yes.
We do a lot of
Yeah.
cooking, and I think that's very important for a lot of like kids and teens to start getting in the kitchen, because when we can understand how to, first of all, like how this food like is made and how we can also change it to be like how we want it to be. I got to say I like spicy more, so maybe I'm gonna make a little part that has the spice that I like to handle, like especially when we're making pizzas.
And that's why
Huh.
it's so easy to implement this into like kids' lives. I know what our mom used to do. She used to make smoothies, right? And she used to put inside, with the strawberries and bananas and all the regular smoothie stuff. She used to hide like broccoli sprouts, and when she used to bake, she used to use Himalayan tartari buckwheat. So we used to think, oh, we love these smoothies. They taste good. And she's putting now she puts in liver like supplements and mushrooms and all of this, so all like these nutrient packed foods, and
Yep.
it's really helping our bodies, and it's not like we're complaining that we hate the taste. And so it's
Yeah.
so easy and anybody could do it, and that's really what our mom used to do. That's really helped us now.
Yeah. My wife does the same for our kids, and they also now are old enough to know it, and they still eat it mostly. I think
And
so.
that's like a sneak peek to that Eat Real Food chapter.
We're in that deal.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Okay, so the next one then is sort of the opposite, right? Vanquish toxins.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by vanquish toxins?
Well, toxins are everywhere. So we don't say eliminate toxins, we say vanquish it. Because first of all, it goes better with the revolutionized like framework, but also
Yeah.
because let's say the US where we live imports about like 45 million pounds of synthetic chemicals daily. That is crazy. And especially because most of these chemicals aren't even tested, which is even more crazy because there's so much toxins around us that can lead to cancer, that can lead to autoimmune diseases, that can lead to all sorts of chronic illnesses that can really, really hurt Americans' like health. So when we mean vanquish toxins, we mean like try to eliminate or decrease certain amounts of these really common toxins that we see everywhere, but can have like that if we get rid of, it'll be so much better to our health. For example, like
Yeah, give me some examples. Give me some examples.
heavy metals or
Like so how do you, like instead of plastic bottles, you can use metal bottles or like
steel balls.
yeah, like to limit the microplastics. And you also put your phone away in a whole different room when you're sleeping to limit the EMF exposure.
And
Mhm.
plus, a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, but I probably don't have many toxins in my house," And actually, a lot of teens, we use a lot of different like care products, like skincare products, and a lot of different lotions and shampoos, and all of these products have tons and tons and tons of chemicals. So we think, oh, I'm putting this on my skin, so it helps my skin, it makes it glow more. But in reality, it's really destroying it even more. And there's so many of these, chemicals. I mean, phthalates. You have food preservatives. The personal care products, like microplastics. So many, and it's everywhere. We need to really start, decreasing on this because it's, disrupting our endocrine system. It's affecting, even I think studies have come out, it can lead to glitchy liver, which can then damage mitochondria and even affect your epigenetics. So inflaming the gut and worsening chronic inflammation. So we think, oh yeah, but doesn't it only matter if I focus on what I put in my body? Well, it's also on what we put on our body and what we surround our body with.
And another really good one is back to the Eat Real Food. Is instead of junk food, like ultra processed food, organic food and non-GMO.
And natural, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because then they spray all those pesticides that we don't really want.
All right. So the next one is O for optimized stress management. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Wait, so talk to me about stress. I've realized as I've gone through different phases of my own life that I always felt like I was stressed out at every point in my life. And then I realized as I get to like the next phase that like, oh, I didn't even know what I was talking about back in that phase. But I really think in today's world where kids are exposed to so much more. I mean, I didn't have a cell phone until after college. The internet didn't even exist. It's amazing. You go back and think about like, what was my life like? I felt stressed out, but I really was not exposed to anywhere near the same things that you guys are exposed to because you have access to all the things that are happening in the world. Hopefully your mom, we'll talk about technology limits, but hopefully you're being limited somewhat. But I imagine your life is actually pretty stressful. So what does optimized stress management mean to you as a teenager?
So, first of all, a lot of adults specifically don't understand that amounts of stress that a lot of teens are going through. Like a lot of adults say, like, you know what, you guys get everything. You know, you don't have to deal with any stress. All you need to do is go to school every day. You don't have to pay the bills. You don't have to, make sure there's food on the table. You don't have to do any of that. And I feel like that, first of all, puts us down. But second of all, they don't even teach us how we can manage the stress that we get. Because just because like we're maybe younger and we deal with different types of stresses does not mean that our stress is any lower. It just means that it's different than your guys's. And I think that it affects teens so much when it comes that it even can create like lots of mental health problems. It's because a lot of teens aren't taught how to manage that stress. And that's what we try to talk about. We try to optimize stress management because stress will always exist. It doesn't matter how old you are or where you are or your economic system. Stress will always exist. So that's what we try to teach about how to manage your stress.
Tell me about some strategies here for managing stress, because I know what I do to manage my own stress, but probably different than what you're recommending for your book readers. So what are you referring to when you say manage stress?
So one thing is teaching your kid how to manage stress before they get angry. Like that's how our mom used to do.
It's like deep breathing, right? Or just taking your breath, right? Just mindful breathing. Sometimes I remember our mom, she sat us down and we were like, why are we doing this? Why are we, meditating? Or like, I don't even feel stressed right now. Why are we doing this? And she says, just so that when you are stressed or in the future, when you do feel like, there's so much going on, you're overwhelmed, then you can just, take 5 minutes, sit, take a deep breath, ground yourself, think, okay, what am I hearing right now? What am I seeing? What am I smelling? What am I thinking? Like just grounding yourself of being in the present. And I know that like back then we thought it was silly, but now we realize the benefit of it. And our mom actually taught us the benefit of it, which made it so much better and made us actually want to do it.
That's a great lesson. I think there's a couple other things in here that we're going to talk about that are also like all of these things are stress management tools actually, right? The less toxins you have exposure to, the less stress you're going to feel from a body perspective, more capacity you're going to have. So I think all of these things could be actually hidden as stress management tools. But I love this next one. Talk to me about why nature is important. We were just talking before we hit record about hiking, being outside. So how does nature have to do with any of this?
Nature can actually help with mental, physical, and even spiritual health. And like it can boost serotonin, which leads to better mood and better focus. And it also when you go to nature's creations, it lowers inflammation, which helps fight off diseases. And trees like pine trees and other trees can lead off a lead lead off a lead off a
But even what God's trying to get at is that even certain types of trees can like massively improve your health. And we think that, oh, this is a tree, okay, this is a different tree, oh, who cares? Like what's it gonna do for me? When in reality, they can like completely affect your body in ways we would never have known. So even by spending time in nature, it can help relieve stress, lower inflammation. Right now, I think a big reason why a lot of teens are dealing with mental health issues is probably because we don't go outside enough. I know my mom used to say like one of the biggest punishments was for us to stay at home. Now the biggest punishment is for us to go outside. So it's like completely changed. And that's why we say spend at least 30 minutes a week, if not more, in open nature, at least in the sun, going out after school, anything. Our mom likes to call it to go hug some trees.
Mm-hmm.
And it can massively impact your mental, physical, emotional, and like even spiritual health.
Yeah, and nature doesn't have to be boring. Like, we don't have to go on like a mile walk with our heads down, just like depressed, right? Or we can just go out and either play in nature, like find what you like to do and incorporate nature into it. So, like, let's say if you like sports, well, just, yeah, do yours like soccer, football, basketball, whatever. Do it all outside. Or if you like drawing or painting, do that outside. You can like sketch something. And I know like what we used to do is that like as kids that we used to like go outside and used to like fight each other with like these big sticks, you know? So like nature doesn't have to be boring. Just find a way to make it fun. And when it's fun, it's much more doable.
Well, it's a good segue into the next one, which is unite with others, this concept of community, and certainly it can be combined with nature, right? Like get away from your screens. We'll talk about that one in a minute. Oh, next. Get away from your screens, go outside, talk to actual people, like real people with skin and all that stuff. Why is community though, or unite with others, why is that so important as a teenager?
Well, I mean, first of all, I like how you said connect with people with skin, because right now a lot of teens are just communicating with AI chatbots, which is completely terrible. And it actually is affecting our mental health. Of like, it's making us feel like we don't have to go talk to real people, which then affects even our vagus nerve, and affects our parasympathetic nervous system. Yeah, like buffers our fight and flight response. And that's why even it's so important to go talk to real people. I know most teens, we can't even make eye contact with people anymore. It's crazy.
Wow. Is that true? Are a lot of teens integrating with chatbots?
Yes.
Yeah. And we go to public school, so we can clearly see how like, yeah, all these teens are so messed up. They can barely like talk to each other. And they're always like striving for like dopamine and serotonin from other people, but just don't get it because they would just want to get it from AI.
What's interesting about that? I use AI a lot, and my wife, she runs a business and she uses AI a lot. And one of the things we always joke about is that like certain language models, they're just like the quote unquote yes man, right? Like every idea that I have, it's like, oh, that is such a great idea. But then if you go talk to a human, it's so weird. They don't act like that. So I could only imagine what's happening if teenagers are engaging with that all day long. You'd never want to talk to a human again.
Yeah, and I remember I was talking to someone, they're like, the AI just gets me. I'm like, what? What? Like, it's terrible. And that's why we need to start teaching kids and teens of the dangers of just talking to AI bots. Like, where's the world going to go if everyone just talks to AI and chatbots? We need to start doing something now. And parents, I know a lot of parents, they think, oh, it's just harmless, but it's starting to get into kids' heads, and I can't even imagine what it will do to the next generation.
Yeah, they're not on my kids' phones. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's like also like AI products that are supposed to be like someone's companion, that they literally talk in a way and they sense the like how they talk and they use the same way. I'm pretty sure like it's starting like a lot of things are now using it.
And I think even 10-year-olds in elementary school have like AI girlfriends and boyfriends, which is just like, go make real connections. Even like, kindness helps increase oxytocin, serotonin, which lowers stress, which you're talking about, improves the immune system. Yeah. And if we don't have these human connections, it's going to affect our body. It's going to affect, we think that it's harmless. Like, oh, I'm just talking to this chatbot. How is that going to affect me? When in reality, it's destroying us on the inside and out.
Because how are we supposed to learn all these social skills if we're just constantly talking to someone who's just going to, like you said, say, yeah, that's a great idea.
Oh my gosh. I hadn't even thought about that like that. But yes, there's another reason why AI are not on my kids' devices, even though they ask for it. So then that actually is a great segue into devices. The T in revolution is technology limits. So you are surrounded by technology. How do you limit it?
Yeah, so we use tech limits because, first of all, technology is everywhere. We are talking to you using technology. And it can be a great thing, and it can also be a really bad thing, especially when you give teens a phone at such a young age and they don't even know how to use it. So they have access to the world's knowledge and they don't know how to use it. So what do you think they're going to do? Well, when we're at school, we can clearly see that most teens don't use technology the way it was supposed to be used, for either calling someone that you need to talk to like say, oh, come pick me up. Instead, most of them are using it to scroll or to go on AI for say, just like talk to AI and go on social media and constantly compare themselves. And we're even using it on the bathrooms, like on the toilets, with 96% Gen Zers saying that they can't even go to the bathroom without their phones. And this is a huge issue. And I'm surprised that it's not talked to like it's an epidemic, because it really is an epidemic.
So give me some strategies, though. I mean, you are, all different ages. I'm sure some of you have phones, some of you don't have phones. Abdul, do you have a phone?
So I got a phone when I was 16, but none of us have social media.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's so important that kids only get smart. That's why we say no social media at least before 16, no smartphones before high school. We even push for phone-free schools.
Yeah. Good luck with that one. What about educational plot? And this is where I struggle. Is I'm in this process right now of sort of redoing all the screen time rules for my kids. Again, 13, 12, and 7. My 13-year-old has a phone. They all have iPads. My 2 boys, my older 2, have PCs. They like to play games like Fortnite. So at what, it's difficult for me, especially when some of these things are educational. And I'll just give you my own thoughts here, because raising boys is hard, and kudos to your mom, for doing what she's doing, because raising boys is a challenge, because this time frame where you go from boy to man it's a huge shift. And so for me, I want them to have access to things that are potentially educational. Like YouTube, for example, is an amazing educational platform. But how much do you need to limit it? And how do you limit the specific content in it? So what are your thoughts on that? Is YouTube by itself bad, or is it how you use it?
It's definitely how I use it. I mean, what my mom first told me when I first got my phone was she gave some amazing advice. And it was, when you go on your phone for a purpose. And so now, whenever if I decide, I'm going to watch something, or I'm going to do something, then I think, okay, how is this going to impact my life? How is this really beneficial? And that helps me create a good balance, because like you said, YouTube, amazing. I mean, we love YouTube. I'll be honest, there's tons of great videos on there. We're on YouTube.
I'm on YouTube.
So it's an amazing way to, learn and do so many other things, but there's also a different side of YouTube that is also something that we should be cautious about. And so that's why for screen time, we have, I think, about an hour or an hour and a half, maybe an hour and a half on to 2 hours on the weekends if we're free. But at least, an hour maybe on the weekends, or less than that, or on the weekdays, where maybe we'll just take a break. We'll watch some stuff. We have limitations of what we watch, because obviously we don't want it to be completely useless. So my mom will be like, "Why are you watching it? How does that benefit your life at all?" It's like, okay, that's probably true. That it is probably pretty useless. So I
don't know. The algorithm got me here. I have no idea why this is useful. Yeah.
And so that's what we've been doing, and that's helped us, even though we take that break for screen time, but we also somewhat benefit from it, so it's not completely useless.
And also, I think that a really important factor in screen time limits is education. And I think that if you put all these limits, like if you say only 30 minutes or no screens the entire day, only for education, like, I don't know, Duolingo or something, then after you get older, especially your kids get older, they're going to grow up and they're going to have some sort of I don't know, trauma from it. They're going to try to run away from what you've been saying. You're going to do the opposite. And that just creates an issue, because you don't want your kids to hate you for it. You're doing it to protect them. So I think that the most important thing to do is just to tell them why you're doing it and what is going to happen when you're on your screen time for a long time. And you can sure put these limits, and as the limits grow and as you tell them why you're doing this, I feel like most teens will understand that, this is for my health. They want to help me. And I think that that's important, because you don't want your kid to run away from you and do the exact opposite. So definitely education, because when they're older, they can make those decisions for themselves, specifically, not having limits. Because
what about video games? And this is a huge thing. I'm sure you guys know gamers.
Yes, that.
And so I was very resistant to video games because I grew up, I mean, my era of video games, and we were talking like the original Nintendo, right? You're talking about like some of the oldest games you can imagine. And it wasn't really that big of a deal because you can maybe get lost in like a Super Mario Brothers, but like you just get bored. Like they just weren't designed the same. I personally started playing Fortnite with my boys because we were struggling finding ways to like interact together. My boys are very, very different. And so together, they both wanted to play Fortnite. We can play as a team, and it's actually like team building. There's so many lessons to be learned, when you're in that kind of environment. And so now we have this in our lives too. So what are your recommendations around games? Is it all bad? Can it be good? Is there a middle ground? What do you think?
Well, first of all, obviously, that's why we love to play games together. So that's, first of all, it's amazing to play with other people. But at the same time, you need a balance. You can't be playing for 5, 6, 7 hours a day. Like, that's not good for anybody. And so that's why what we do, we at least have maybe 1 or 1.5 hours where we'll, play some games. I know we used to play like a lot of Minecraft. Fortnite was not, or Roblox was not really our thing, but, we played some Minecraft. And that's why also helping kids find things, other things to do besides gaming. One of the reasons why kids just like to game is because we actually, honestly, we just don't know what else to do. Yeah. That's why what our mom used to do was like, when he's like, oh, I'm bored, can I just go to my screen time? Or I'm bored, can I just do this? She's like, okay, find something you like to do. And if you can't do that, help me clean the kitchen. Like, getting kids outside, getting kids to help like do other things and teaching them to do other things on themselves that they can help entertain themselves with is also so beneficial, because otherwise they're going to be like, if I don't know what to do, I'm just going to play. And if I can't play, then I just don't know what to do anymore.
That's my 7-year-old. Every morning she comes down, she gets up pretty early. I'm an early riser. And so around 7:00, she'll get up and she'll come down and she'll come over, she'll give me a hug and she'll look at me and she'll say, I'm bored. What do I do? And I have like my same responses. You're a smart kid. You'll figure it out. But what she's asking is, can I watch my iPad? Right? As soon as she gets up, can I watch my iPad? And so, we can navigate around that. And at 7, it's easy. But as they get older, it gets harder. And that autonomy is more challenging. Where are like my son's in his room right now? What's he doing? Is he on his computer? Now I track them all. So I know. I know exactly what he's doing. But still, it gets so hard because we do need the technology. My middle son, for example, this makes it even harder. So we homeschool. He's on a virtual school program. So he's on screens all day during the day and then still wants to do the Fortnite. And then he doesn't have a phone, but that's coming. Like he wants to do iPad as a reward for playing piano. And it just stacks and it gets so difficult. So yes, technology limits. I will just leave it there. This next one is probably, I think, arguably one of the most important, especially to set boundaries as we get older. Invest in sleep. Tell me what that means for you.
So sleep is really, really important for a lot of teens and kids, and actually adults should probably invest in sleep. But teens specifically, like we're going to sleep really late. A lot of times we're going to sleep in the morning, like 2 a.m. or something. And we're like on our phones a lot of the times. Like these screens, like we were talking about before, they're keeping us addicted. And especially like I've seen my friends' screen time limits, and they've even told me like when they like before school, like they're like, oh, I went to sleep at like 3 a.m. yesterday. And I'm like, what are you doing until 3 a.m.? He was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what I was doing, scrolling. So I think it's like really important. You can definitely tell what's happening with a kid when they're sleep deprived, and usually it's not really good. There's just sleeping the whole day, like so tired. Their mood is completely off. They're like everything's off. And actually, when we're sleep deprived, we are more likely to get sick. So it is because our sleep is actually where our body gets the rest it needs, so it can grow, so it can heal itself through the day, so it can get the energy that it needs to do the next morning.
And before you go to sleep, like instead of going on the screen, you can like read a book or like paint or something like that.
Yeah, tell my oldest to do that. We'll see how that goes.
And that's why
It's very difficult. One of the things I think that's so important about sleep, and I'd love to know your thoughts. As as young boys going into adolescence, becoming young adults, the amount of change that's happening in your body is tremendous, right? The change that's happening in your brain, understanding emotions, being able to learn your barriers and boundaries. My kids, we like. I try to be a good role model for this, but man, we really value sleep in our household. And my daughter, I said that she wakes up at 7. It's so sad for me because before she started kindergarten and in-person school kindergarten, she was sleeping for 14 hours a night. I mean, unreal. 14 hours a night, right? Go to bed at 7, wake up at 9 a.m. And then to get her to school, we had to start waking her up early. And because of that shift, she still goes to bed at 7, but I get her up at 6:40. And now she naturally wakes up at 7. Now that would shorten over time anyway, but still it's such a tragedy to have to wake kids up early to go to school. What time do you guys wake up to go to school?
I wake up around 6:45.
Well, my school starts at 6:30, so I have to float
Oh,
5:45.
yeah, since I was
Wow.
7 or 8.
yeah.
Mm.
It's amazing. And, I mean, naturally, especially you, Abdallah, like you would sleep until what? How late do you sleep on the weekend?
I try because the things I know actually the benefits of I know all the benefits and all of the things and all of the everything about sleep and how it affects me. So I try to get to sleep with all the work and all the bouncy calls, everything at least by 11.
Yeah.
But I can't make
And
it till 12, but I never go past 12.
And then what time do you wake up?
And then I'll try to at least get 8 hours or like 9 hours of sleep. So then 8 or 9.
Yeah. So the thing is, you're waking up, on the weekends. Now you're waking up later during the weekday because your school starts later, right? You're in college.
Yeah.
It's an advantage. But so many kids, if they're staying up till 11, 12, 1 a.m., they have to get up at 5.
Yeah,
Man, that's
and that's
terrible.
why it's like terrible. That's why even when I used to have to wake up at like 7 or 6, then at that point I'll be like, okay, let me at least try to go to sleep. 10 is the limit. That way,
Yeah.
you get at least your 8 hours of sleep. You're able to function throughout the day. I know a lot of people, they decide to stay up until 12 and then wake up at 6. How are you gonna function? No matter what you say, nobody can really function with 6 hours of sleep. I know
Yeah,
a lot of people say,
not even
"Oh, yeah, well,
adults."
I can function with just 6 hours. I don't need anything more." Let's be honest. You can't really properly function with just 6 hours of sleep.
Yeah, no,
So
not well. I know people that tolerate it, but they're not thriving. That's for
No.
sure.
And
Yeah.
it gets like really hard because I've noticed, because it's my first year in high school. I'm a freshman in high school, and I realized that now I have to wake up much earlier and I have much more work. So it's like I want to it's hard to balance all the things. So sometimes, yeah, I also have to go to sleep around like 10 o'clock, which I used to go to sleep around like 9:30ish and still get like more sleep. Like when I wake up at like 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
I wake up at like
He's a luxury.
8:50,
Still,
Oh, wait, and what grade are you in?
5th grade, elementary.
How come you can sleep in so much?
I don't know. Their school like starts at 9. His school
Yes.
starts at like technically 8.
My bus comes at 7:30 though.
Yeah, and then my school starts at like 7.
And I walk to school.
That's awesome. See, that's what I think all schools should start at 9 or later.
Definitely.
That's amazing. And also, as a guy who homeschools a 12-year-old who's in 6th grade, I can tell you that curriculum should only take 2 hours, just for the record. Like they don't need to be at school for that long. But anyway, I digressed. Let's move on. We're almost done. Let's talk about O. What's the O in revolution?
Open to gratitude and purpose.
Ooh, gratitude and purpose. Well, these are a big one. Gratitude for everyone. Purpose, definitely for young men. Talk to me about these 2 words.
So like there is so much negativity in the world. Like we spend hours in the virtual world when we're talking about tech limits that only highlight the good in people's lives. It's easy to look as like our lives is less when we're seeing so many people in social media having all these luxuries. But honestly, that's probably just the highlights and they're probably suffering on the inside. But this is where like trouble starts to happen because we start to have negative talk to ourselves, and that happens more and more. So it's important to have gratitude to help our subconscious because our subconscious governs 90% of our thoughts and actions. So having a positive subconscious can help.
Especially if we're always thinking about, I'm terrible, I'm bad at this, I'm bad at that, the world's falling apart. There's a war here, there's a war there. I'm not as good as this one person in my class. So they're so much like better looking. They're so much more stronger. They're more athletic. And now all these kind of come to us and they overwhelm all the good things. And now we're thinking to ourselves, I'm not good enough. And this can cause serious mental health problems, especially in teens who don't know how to deal with, first of all, stress. Second of all, they don't know how to deal with all this world, because we're kind of like the first generation to have all of these technologies so advanced for us, and no one, like, we don't even know how to deal with it, and a lot of adults don't even know how to deal with it. So definitely that's why we especially in our book, we talk a lot about ways that like we can be gratitude, like we can be grateful.
And that's why as well, I know for purpose especially, like a lot of people are like, oh, once I become an adult, example, then I'm going to figure out my life. Once I do this, then I'm going to do this. Once I'm going to, be, and then once they're adults, once I'm 20, then, I still got time. Start today. Try to use your time the best. I mean, you only get so many days of your life. And if you don't start taking advantage of them now, you're going to regret it later. And start building yourself up. Find what motivates you. Find what you love and take that to the next level. Do it in a way that you can help others. Ask yourself, how can I make an impact to this world? How can I benefit the world? How can I be that best version of myself? And then strive for it. Keep going for it. And if teens can honestly just do that, imagine where the next generation can go if we started doing that today.
Yeah, but how are we supposed to be able to ask ourselves if we don't have any time to actually ask ourselves? If we're always on our screen, or if we're always preoccupied with work or with school or with anything really that we want to do. We want to get this done, and then right after we have this practice, and we have this. We really just need time to think and to be bored. We talk a lot about like being bored, and I think it's just so important, and it's not talked about nearly as much as how important it is, because boredom is kind of where all of the world's ideas came. How do you think all these amazing inventors were able to solve these solutions if they were constantly on their screen looking at other people's lives, and they couldn't even figure out what's going on with themselves? Like, a lot of teens today don't even understand, who do I want to be in this world? And that's why we talk about purposes, because we want teens to, be bored so you can think about your future, so you can think about what you really like to do. And I think especially if we're spending all night scrolling, and if we don't even know what we like anymore, how are we supposed to advance to the next level of our life if we can't even understand ourselves?
That's what I love to say. A mindful teen is a powerful teen.
Yeah. Oh, that's a powerful statement. I love that. It's really difficult to pull kids away from their devices, from their world, from all their activities. I mean, you could even argue that the sports game is similar, right? Like, you have so many different teams, travel, this, that, like everybody's so busy, you don't get a second to breathe. I think I shared with you before we hit record that for my birthday this year, I disappeared into the woods for 24 hours. And I've just had some things on my mind. There's things that I'm trying to put together, and I had the opportunity to just escape. And so for me, where am I going to escape to? I go into the mountains, disappear. It was really cold, turns out. But in that silence, in nature, I was able to break through some of the things that I've been struggling with for months. It is in that silence. It's in the absence of all of this input that your brain actually starts to work, and you can break through some of these barriers. So I absolutely love that. I love gratitude. We have, for my kids, we call it a gratitude shower when they're super grumpy and they're, nothing's going the way that it should. I say, hey, let's stop. Let's do a gratitude shower. And they hate it when I say that, but we do it and they feel better. And purpose, man, such an important word. I use the word mission a lot. I think can mean the same thing. Being mission driven, it's a totally different life than being driftless and drifting through life. So, all right, last one. What's the N in revolution?
Navigate your decisions with mindfulness.
Now, we talked a little bit about like being mindful. Like Abdullah said, a mindful teen is a powerful one. And I think mindfulness is really, really important for the fact that, first of all, being bored. And second of all, I mean, what even is mindfulness? Mindfulness is just being in the present, being fully in the present. Stop worrying about in the future. Stop worrying about what happened in the past. Or like, we really, teens specifically, need to start focusing about what's happening now. We need to kind of, we could either do this by taking some deep breaths or just thinking or just journaling or just really taking that time to take a breath and to just sit down and just do nothing really.
And at my school, like we have mindfulness moments every day in the morning.
And that's
Amazing.
why for anybody really, some people are like, oh, but how do I be mindful? Like, what does that even sometimes mean? And honestly, just stopping, thinking, being in the present, being in the moment, just noticing what's around you, noticing, okay, what am I doing with my life? Sometimes I know teens are really scared to ask ourselves that question. Like, where is this going? And how can I improve? How can I get better? And that can be so beneficial because as teens, we're running from one class to another. We're trying to, we have this homework and we have this thing, we have this practice, we have this friendship drama, we have, so much thing going on, the news, the social, everything going on social media. And sometimes we just need to take a break, put down the phone, and just stop and think to ourselves. And if we do that, then we can really start making changes in our life and changes in other people's lives. And I also wanted to bring up a really big point is that parents need to start doing this as well. Because if we don't see in all of this, if we see our parents always on their phones, I'll be honest, if our parents are always on their phones, if they're always negative, if they're always, they don't go out and they don't, socialize and they don't also, they make meaningful relationships, if they also have toxic relationships, if they have so many things going on or they're not being grateful and they don't have a purpose, how do you expect us to also have, develop what you want us to develop? A lot of parents are like, oh yeah, be grateful when they're not grateful. Like, how is that supposed to work? Or they tell us, get off your phones where they're on their phones 24/7. So parents need to step up and be better role models. And that's one of the best ways you guys can help us as well.
Ooh. Oh, that's powerful right there. I think we should probably just wrap up on that because it's so hard. Parents, we parents, it is, I've been in that situation. I've had my phone literally, I'm like, yeah, put your phone down. I'm like, jeez, it is hard, but I recognize that we are the role models.
Mm-hmm.
We set the stage. It is very difficult as we are all figuring out how to use technology. We're all figuring out how to use, or how to avoid toxins in this environment. What's real, what's not real on social media. I have some friends and colleagues who just avoid it all. They just like live. They're like, I just don't want any piece of it. I'm just going to live without it all. And that's an option, I think, for some people. But if we want to truly stay engaged as parents, trying to help our kids to understand what's going on in the world, we have to be role models. I think it's such an important point. So guys, where can the audience learn more about your work? Where can they get your book? How do we learn more about what's going on in your world?
So we are the holistic kids everywhere. Even though some of us are adults and we are like one to teens, we all started as kids, and we're all basically kind of kids. So we are the Holistic Kids Show is our podcast. It's on every single podcast platform like iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. It's probably there. And on social media, we are Holistic Kids Show on Instagram, Facebook, whatever.
You can also buy a book, Teen Health Revolution, on Amazon is a bestseller. And you can also find more about our book on the teenhealthrevolution.com.
And you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, anywhere basically that you can podcast.
And we have a course coming out soon.
No, I think we had a course coming out now. We're like, because that was more for kids, this is more of like adding on teens. So yeah, that's definitely, it's going to be like the same price, but double the amount of power and knowledge in it.
And it's more of a guide so that we can help you, step by step, become a better person and take back control of your own health.
Well, you guys have done an incredible job. I'm super impressed by your knowledge. Clearly, you've been paying attention and you've been present while you've been interviewing these experts. What an incredible opportunity that has been put in front of you. So I do hope you're grateful for that. I really appreciate your time. I'm grateful for all of it. So thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, we're so blessed, and we really can't thank you enough. So it's really been our pleasure.
Mhm.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thank you so much.